on, for safety, and he agreed with it. So he's gonna send an order out to the other judges, letting them know.
Okay.
But the problem was, we were getting there at 9 o'clock, and the judge wouldn't come off the bench, or come through the bench, till 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off. They do that all the time.
All late.
They just sit back there and chill,
Yeah.
just sitting there just like.
And when they do come out, they then continue and everything, so. But he agreed 3 at a time.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to Josh, kind of see what he thinks we can. Treasure.
When we do Jay Sampson, why they not gonna, or why they haven't hired that Turner? That's not Turner, but
For the
Turner Law.
public defender?
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to the judge. I don't know if they're waiting on court.
Well, there was, and a big argument about, if it was, one of them thought they could just hire, and the other one thought they had to put it out for bid or something, I don't know. But that's been 6 months ago.
We definitely, because we're paying a lot of money
Yeah.
out to attorneys.
I called that lady from Comcast. She wouldn't answer the phone, so I left her a message and told her what the problem was. Next time we have a hard rain, we're gonna have more water in the basement up there.
Okay.
And it's on them.
Susan Wise, is that who you tried to contact?
If they don't fix it, I get some caulking and fill that conduit up. They won't be able to get their cable out, but at least we won't have any water going in the basement.
I said to do that. But yeah, I'll call her and tell her to put a work order in for that.
Looks like somebody's dumped it with a lawnmower or something. I mean, it's right at ground level.
So what, we had that rain, he said the other day, and the water was just backing into where that line went.
Where at?
Into the basement of the annex building.
Where does that go in there?
Computer room. And they like about 1/16 of an inch getting into an $80,000 server, which is sitting right on the floor. I can't understand why they put it on the floor.
That server, is that the judge's system? There's a guy that I've talked to that handles all their, he works for the court system. I wonder if they can call him to get him to build that up on a,
He's on vacation for the next 3 weeks.
no shit, 3 weeks.
But, I mean, who's gonna put a computer on the floor in the basement?
An idiot.
Somebody who works for the government.
But he is aware of it. Yeah, he needs to build that up.
There's plenty of shelves. I mean, and upstairs in that second floor, there's racks of shelving up there that can be used, metal
Yeah.
shelves.
Okay. Does, Reapy, is she aware of that to tell him?
Yeah.
Tell him that, okay.
Well, that window, ain't they? $2,000 window repair?
Yeah,
Where's that at?
jail.
Somebody break one or something? Or?
Actually, I think it was 2 pieces of glass that was broken, that, two different windows.
Inmate? Can we get any retribution?
Yeah, there's restitution for it if they'll ever pay. It's part of the order.
Good.
I'm fine. Making road signs.
Our auction last week, we sold everything out there but the parking lot. We didn't get a lot of money out of it, but we sold it.
2 million?
You got 2.5.
The only thing we didn't sell was that Blazer, and nobody could find no titles for it. Over
A lot of
11.5.
things still sitting around.
Well, after I lost title, you can sell it, and until then, you can't.
How much money did you raise?
I think it was $2,200 is what total.
That tool is made to go on the front of the engine of a train and bump that engine over whenever they're working on the engines with it's for. That torque multiplier. Did some investigating. I asked a railroad guy what that was, and he said that's put on like when they got the engine in the engine shop, they can put that on the front of the engine on the crank, and bump it over if they need to.
Whether they lock an into to turn it over, because one guy ain't gonna hold on to it.
You wouldn't think. It's gonna take a man, isn't it?
Ooh,
Who bought it? I mean, did someone buy it?
somebody, yeah.
Did you buy it? You know if it works out better.
Yeah, I don't have any idea what I'm gonna do. It may be a Maybe at my house about as long as it was in the
I
sheriff's.
would say somebody probably lost their job over that.
Probably.
You had that for a long time, Ted.
Oh, 6 or 7 years.
We looked at that 2 or 3 years ago, couldn't figure out what it was.
It was just a donation to the county, is all it was. I don't have any idea what I want to do with it.
You know, we called the factory, and had them run the seal number, so we could run it back that way, and I guess it was so old, they didn't have any record.
Well,
That's all I got.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Ted.
See you later.
you kid. Like a kid in a chair.
Courthouse Christmas party flyer.
Oh, okay. You want us to get the meat?
Yeah, if you guys could, that'd be great. Are you gonna be able to come and stuff?
I don't know, I haven't looked at my schedule. Let's see, what day is it on?
Friday,
The 10th?
Seventh.
December 2nd?
7th.
7th?
Yes.
We're doing a Secret Santa or gifts, or what's the limit? Is it on it?
$10 already sent.
Yep, I'll be doing that.
Yeah, the same building down there, same setup.
It was pretty nice down there.
I thought it was too. Remember how many pounds of meat we've been getting?
Can you read that?
Yes.
I assume you know who it's from.
Tell her I said, thank you.
Do you remember how many pounds of meat we were getting? There for a while, we was getting too much, and I kind of remember the number, and I forget. You remember, Jeff?
You're the meat man, I'm just a mutton man.
You know, just, oh gosh, what, 50 people?
Is that many?
I think it's probably gonna be more.
This will be Patrick's last one with us, right? For a while.
Yep, it's very different.
Big. Abby get some signs done for you.
Yes, she got them done. We have, I don't know if Matt sent somebody down there to pick them up yet or not. She just emailed me.
See, it says here, she worked 50 hours, but should have a pretty good amount.
Yeah, she said there were 64 signs. I didn't ask for that many, but I don't know. Maybe there's some that they saw that maybe we put up or something.
Yeah. Did you have another list?
Yeah, I'm putting it together now and email it to him. I've got about another 50 that I've seen. I don't know, people are just ignorant, I guess. I don't know. I mean, every single sign from Grinnell Road all the way back to Prim Road, basically on Jonesboro is gone. I mean, so Jonesboro and every cross street all the way up are all gone. And somebody actually took a sawzall and sawed one of our signposts in half to steal a stop sign over on Waldo and Deer Run Road a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how to stop it. I mean, there's no way to stop it. I mean, it's just ignorant people, but. I mean, if you can catch them, you can catch them, but I mean, there's no way to pinpoint trying to catch somebody.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Well, unless we put some type of device on there, try to catch them, but who knows?
Take you 10,000 of them to.
Yeah, to get the right one. wanna drive by somebody's garage with that stop sign hanging in the garage.
We got some old ones there, if somebody wants a sign, I can get an old one. One that said advertime on it, remember that one?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they can probably take that one that the city has there by the school that haven't changed in years with the nice artwork on it.
Yeah.
You asked for this in October. I just got the last couple pieces of information I needed to put my budget together. I got it together at the end of last week. Be happy to discuss this in more detail at some time if you want, but I've got it here for submittal, which fairly is still the chairman.
Thank you, Joe.
The, one of the last pieces I was waiting for is our salt contract. It's unbelievable how much salt went up in price this last year. It went up about almost $21 a ton from last year to this year.
Went up that much?
Yeah.
What was it last year?
It was around 54 something, and it's around 75 now.
What's the reason?
No idea. I asked another county engineer the same thing.
Because of the can.
They didn't know either. Wondered if the state screwed something up in the bid documents, or they didn't know. I mean, but it wasn't a overly harsh winter last year, and I haven't heard
Well,
any
Shall,
salt shortages. but,
shall we price locally? See if it's competitive?
We can from now on out. I could not do the state contract, and I could try to bid it out myself for the quantity. I mean, that $20, I mean, it does sound like a lot, but it's gonna cost us about $3,500 extra for the amount that I was
What
gonna
tonnage
get.
you use?
How many times did you use it, Joe?
But how many we use is depending on how harsh the winter is, but I ordered 175 tons this year. Usually I stick with them trying to get 150, 175, sometimes I go down to 100 if the winter prior wasn't very harsh and we've got a lot left over.
Yeah.
But, so anywhere between 100 and 200 probably.
Where does that usually come from? Where's it?
Every time I've been here, they always ship it down to Cotter's and they truck it
on the
just right
barge.
from down there, yeah. This time Cargill got the contract. I don't know if North American Salt is the same thing as Cargill nowadays or not, but I think there was two different contractors that from time to time, one gets it or the other gets it, but only out of 5 years I've been here, only once they've actually trucked it from like down around Scott City or Cape or somewhere down there. And the rest of the times they've always trucked it up here just from Cotter's. You know, I can bid it out and have River Ag or Cotter's or whoever bid on it. And I don't know if somebody else can bid on it or not, but I could do that next year instead of going through the state contract. I don't know how it would turn out. I'd probably talk to Bucky or something beforehand just to see.
Can you hold 200 ton out there?
You know, the guys going in the past that, I think they said that each of those bins, you can maybe fit 150 in each side, so I might be able to fit 300 tons out there, but I don't think any more than that.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, those are just three-sided buildings, so the more you try to
Yeah.
cram in there, it gets
More
out
weather.
toward the edge, and the weather gets it and
Yeah.
everything else, so.
Have one big chunk of rock out there on that end.
I mean, I'm pretty comfortable holding around 200. I think that gets it back in there just a little bit to protect it.
guess you quit mowing and
No, there's still more.
still mowing.
That's good and dry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have to get the rest of the gravel roads, they're somewhere around the middle part of the county, we still have to go to the east to get gravel roads, and then after that, we probably have to make one pass on several other roads, like Unity School Road. Jason was telling me something all about that, and I went out there, it is pretty tall. It needs to really be knocked down, at least one pass.
I seen a grader out there or something, you know, working on, just doing the roads out that way sometime. There was something parked out there. Is that yours or?
Probably, yeah. Brady Corner or whatever that is.
Yeah,
out there.
just
Yeah,
said
there's a
there.
grader there.
Okay.
There's been one at all over camps. I guess that's, I think it's John Duke there, loose.
Should be out on the road today.
Well, hopefully not. Maybe,
Yeah.
Just 3 or 4 days till I see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this time of year, we're trying not to just open up a ton of roads, you know, because the choice the weather is, you open them up, they really get pretty sloppy.
Yeah.
Of course, the phone line just, again, it's just been burning up still. People need rock, we need rock, we need rock. I don't know what to tell people, but then we'll try to straighten it up as good as we can.
Got a little equipment.
Right now, it's okay. We spent a lot of money on tractors and mowers this year. And that one truck that I was telling you about that was in the fire and got fixed, it's apparently the only thing we can come up with, the reason why it's smoking so much is because it's kind of stuck in that regen mode because the DPF filter and everything else, they're thinking it's all clogged up from all the regeneration cycles, so. I don't know if George is gonna try to take that off of there and pressure wash it out and things of that nature, but if you remember, they don't really tell you that that's a recommended thing to do, but we've done it before because if you buy a new DPF filter, it's $5,000 or $6,000, which is insane, totally insane. And I mentioned,
What truck's that on?
it's an international dump truck, 32, newer one, it's like the 2008 or 9 model.
Gosh.
Now, I mentioned to you before about possibly trying to get all the emission stuff deleted off of it. So that's still in the, I can still try to do that. Guy semi-locally can do that. It would cost him a little over $5,000 to do it though. But
We're still gonna try to look over time, just getting those ones out of the fleet and start bringing other ones in.
we can,
I think that's our best bet.
yeah, I mean, if you delete that stuff off, that's the majority of what the problems are caused by on these trucks. But yeah, I mean, we could also look at that instead of, we could try to get rid of that one and get a different one.
How many miles should be put on one a year? Do you know how many?
No.
50, 60,000?
No, I am not anywhere near that much, I don't think. That truck was probably in the neighborhood of 9 or 10 years old, and it may have, I'd be telling you wrong if I told you, I'm thinking it's got like 120, 130,000 miles on it, so I would guess, from 15,000, 16,000, depending on how much you actually drive that truck.
Is that an automatic one too?
Yeah. Yeah, all the internationals that we have, except that Army one that we converted, are all automatics. The Army one that we converted is a manual shift, and then,
I've got one similar to that. I've got an international checker house, automatic.
Allison.
Yeah. It's a, yeah, I think it is. It's a 90, I think it's a 90 model, 91. Doesn't have the DPS.
Yeah, those are a lot better.
It's only got 100,000 on it.
And I've got an auditor coming from IDOT tomorrow to start auditing, I think, 2016 and 2017 motor fuel tax accounts. So, FYI.
Charles Union contract expired for you guys. Do you know?
I believe one more year. I think it expires next December. It's for 17, 18, and 19. And
Was it?
it'll carry over if you don't.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, don't we have revision,
Yeah.
keep going.
You know, no, one party or the other has to notify the other party like 100 days in advance or something like that. And if you don't, then it just carries over at a automatic raise amount. You know, I think it's 3%. It's in the contract.
George, you heard any more about that road up there? Burt Midley, yeah, girl from California, wanting cleaned up.
Oh, no, I haven't heard any more. I did make another response back to him that, you
Yeah.
know, kind of, in summary, I just said, look, you know, it's not my intent to be mean or anything like that. It's just,
Yeah, I read
the
it.
burden of proof is on you to prove that it's our road. I mean, and so far, you haven't come up with anything, you know? I mean, it's not in our books, it never was in our books. I don't think it's ours, but, you know, so I've not heard anything back. I would doubt that it would just die there. I mean, I'm sure that they're gonna probably try to hire a local attorney to look
Did you
into
go
it.
look at the site? How big are the trees in there?
Big.
2 foot?
There's a few of them that are, you know, big. I mean, like 50, 60-year-old trees, I would think, at minimum.
Well, now, you know where that Tony Fortman lives up there? Or that may be, I guess that's my thing. Where is that road? Is this where you get to that intersection? You turn off Unity School to the left.
Yeah,
How far,
it's about a
before you go up that hill?
it's about a half mile.
So that'd be before you go up that curve and hill,
Yeah,
old gravel pit used to be in.
yeah, it's before that curve.
Okay.
There's some woods on both sides, and then as soon as there's some houses that,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it is, right there on that line.
Okay.
Because the Forest Service actually owns,
Both sides.
I think, both sides of the road. When you get to that line where they say that road was, I believe there was a road there. I mean, there's no doubt there was a road there of some sort at some time. I mean, I don't think it was a public road, but nevertheless, it's on old maps.
So I wonder how far that would be from Home and Lake if you get back. Is it about a half mile back in there?
Well, the road, they're claiming their property is about 6/10 of a mile. Holman Lake is probably another half mile beyond that. I'd say it's at least a mile.
Yeah. Probably.
Those going to Joe. Takes them back.
Got them all?
Yeah.
Red, did you come by the Payne Farm this morning?
Somebody what?
The Payne Farm?
Payne Farm down here at the Mermaid Springs? No, I ain't been down to the farm yet this morning. Why, what's up?
Well,
There's actually three.
spread a load of rock down through that. You know, Kelly Walden, you know Kelly?
Uh-huh.
He's living there.
Oh, I didn't know he was living
The
there.
Almater's house down there. And they've got a double line coming. So he moved, he must be Kennedy or something, you know, 'cause he's got me the job before we gravel that road, and he kind of takes care of that. You will if you find out to do it.
Yeah.
I know he's gonna do a little bit of backhoe work from
Now, did that house get flooded or not? If it didn't, it was awful close.
there. Yeah, I bet he got under there.
Probably under cross space. Good people.
Yeah. Did you know what road?
Be careful, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Hmm? That's the thing where Gerald, you're done with it. It's in front of you, isn't that it?
Yeah, there was two things. I threw him something else over here too. You skipped over.
That's the after-action report from the exercise I did in August over in Joppa.
Okay.
There's a couple areas of improvement. One being communication, whether it's radio communication, which we're looking at the area where we're lacking most in that is Hamm radio operations, which that kind of bit me in the butt. This last exercise I did Friday with the National Guard, I didn't have no one be able to operate a ham radio because you have to have the license and stuff. Well, I'm talking Dr. Hicks out the hospital. He's big into that. We're gonna look at and see what kind of avenues we can approach to maybe.
Is that the one they had the helicopter flew in?
Yeah, Chinook helicopter.
From, where they fly in from?
Peoria. They were an hour and a half late.
Yeah.
Well, just like the military, hurry up and wait, but.
Yeah.
But
So what is it you're trying to communicate from here to Springfield, right?
we shot this Peoria and Springfield.
So every so often you just check in to see if Springfield hears you?
Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
club, they practice all over the place.
Okay.
I guess club, a lot of times of this, when they're, I say playing on the radio, but when they're talking on the radio, doing their thing, you know, as a hobby, they're trying to get the farthest away shots, like some people talk to other people in other countries. Which in disaster, that means if we can talk to Springfield, that'd be wonderful, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If all else fails.
I thought that's what you were doing in the exercise, just confirming that you can talk to them.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I haven't got the after-action report meeting Friday, which I did my survey last night, when I thought went wrong, and, you know, of course, I knew from the get-go the Ham's going to bite us in the butt, but that's with, not having no one interested, you know, I talked to a few people, and they were kind of like wishy-washy, like, well, maybe we can do it, you know.
Yeah.
With volunteers, you know, that's always a problem with, even the fire department faces.
Mhm.
But it's something I'm working with Dr. Hicks and see what we come up with. A few people that would be dedicated to come in and do some ham stuff for us. I'm gonna work on getting my license, so that would be a plus there. Then, another thing on exercise, this exercise, it's participation from, let's see, in areas, county fire, they don't like playing exercise, which I know that's kind of hard pill to bite, but it's not just, you know, we're going in there to, I guess, grade somebody. We're going to go to make sure our plan works, our EOP works. That's what, when we do next study, that's what we look at our EOP. What part of the EOP are we going to test? And that's one of the things that we're looking at doing with exercises and stuff, which I'm planning on a functional with the tornado event that I did in Joppa. Then I'm gonna work on the tabletop with Brookport. Probably something to do with their levy, since that's a issue for them down there.
Have we met all of our hours that we need to with
Yeah.
everything's met, certified?
Everything's good to go. I'm waiting on the, I got the letter of certification from the state on our accreditation, but I'm waiting for the actual, I guess, certificate, which I saw on Facebook today, when the counties up north got theirs last week, so I think we're all the same with the fiscal year starting in October, so I guess it's a matter of getting it in the mail right now.
How about those two things that we, guess about a month or 6 weeks ago that we went ahead and paid for, and when the grant's supposed to come in, we're supposed to reimburse?
They sent me a letter of, grant adjustment, which I had Gerald sign last night while I was
Okay.
up here. So all that's on track as far as I know.
All right, so once that money comes in, you just get with the treasurer, we reimburse that back from that account, make sure that
Then, we've been talking to, like, the women's shelter about sponsoring an angel tree. And what I need from the county is permission to put a tree up here somewhere, maybe around a Coke machine or something. I talked to Ted, he's okay with it, he's running by y'all.
So y'all
Sure.
run
I'm good with it.
Okay.
What will it do? Just a tree or?
Yeah, it's a tree.
Donations or anything?
Well, the donations will come back, to us when they buy the, people walk by the stuff, people will have like pant size, clothing size
Yeah.
on there. They'll buy them and wrap them,
Okay.
whatever. And all we do, we'll just deliver them, me and, we're talking about one of the deputies or something.
Where do they take the gifts? They leave it by the tree, or they take it to your office, or
They
the one takes?
get a hold of us or the women's shelter.
Okay.
So there won't be like no gifts laying there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just come, the only thing the tree does is they have the
The name
denomination
on it.
tank sizes and stuff on there and say, you wanted to do something for Christmas, you just pick a hand and
Sure.
buy, I guess, the stuff on that.
That's a good idea.
I figured that'd be good PR, and I just wanted to run that by y'all, see what your thoughts were on that.
I'm good with it.
You need to put it up there in the cross, where the hall's cross, or where all people would see it.
Oh, that's on machines?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about all I had, I just wanted to run that stuff by you, do the after action report.
Good deal.
Thank you,
We appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You did, sir. Come on up, Gary.
Mr. Hamm.
Thought I'd better correct something that maybe I misstated or misunderstood on the complaints we had this last year. Here we go.
Just your size.
That we have under 30 complaints, which is extreme.
Well, the paper say 100.
130.
Yeah.
And I just want to get that clarified. There was information that was
Paper was wrong?
incorrect. But
I thought that
because
was
we're getting
right.
things so efficient. And then, let's see, what else? I had to change my date on having the board review hearings because we have to give people 30 days notice. And on the back of the notice, there was a different date than what we had put on the front. So to be safe, I had moved it back to like December, and I'd have to go down to the office and get the date.
Can you know that?
Yeah, I will. And this is when the hearing date will be, and then we usually give people 5 minutes. And if it's a company or something, we usually give them 15, but we're not there to hear about their taxes are too high and all the other stuff. We just want facts, evidence, and we'll let the board decide. That's the nice thing about, that's the good thing about my job is I don't have the final say. People have rights, they just need to go through the process, and the board of review makes the final decision at the local level. And then if they don't agree, there's options for them to do. It's not my job to practice law, I don't. But we'll give them the documentation to tell them what they need to do. And
When do you,
that's-
when do you plan to mail the letters out to notify people?
Today.
Today.
Today. So because of the holidays and different things in there that we have going on, Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
Veterans Day, I just extended it, felt like it was only fair. I don't want to try to give the impression that we're trying to do things slick or, do something that's not in the taxpayer's favor. I do have a new office policy in my office now that I have instructed my staff, and we do not have conversations regarding tax bills. I will no longer talk about a document that I do not send out. If people want to understand about their assessment, their exemptions, I'm happy to do that. But there's nowhere says I should be explaining that thing to people. If they can't explain a document they send out, that's not on me. They need to understand. Because we are doing somebody else's work, and I don't have the staff for it.
So give us an example when somebody would call them or come in there and ask.
Come in there, automatically say my taxes are too high. My staff's answer is yes, they are. And then they,
I'll agree.
then it's, what are you really saying? Well, somebody said, or somebody told me, and it just,
Well,
just get to
besides
the
them
facts.
saying the taxes aren't too high, what is another example? They come in there and they say that you don't feel appropriate to try to answer.
Well, it's the whole, that's it, the tax question. It's not appropriate for me to be answering the taxes, extension and stuff, because there's more than just the assessment and exemption
Mhm.
on a tax bill. There's levies. And to be quite honest, The only thing I can help them on, and my staff will help them on, is if you feel like your value is incorrect, let us know. There's paperwork to fill out. There's ways to do this. If you're not getting the exemption you're entitled to or feel you're entitled to, fill out the paperwork. But we have people that expect us to do it for them, give them advice, and that's just not what we're there to do. I mean, there are everything we have. We have a process that you must go through, that we've adopted rules for board of review. This is the rules. And then the statutes have their rules. All I told and I instructed my staff to do is you provide the paperwork to people for this. Quit interpreting, quit telling them anything, because we don't know until they apply for it. You know, a lot of people assume just because you move into a house, you automatically get that owner-occupied exemption. Well, we try to always do that based on their address. But guess what? Sometimes we make a mistake or they have a different address on there, and that happens. So we do our best, but we're not perfect. But when somebody comes down to my office and said, well, you screwed up, you owe us for 15, 16, and 17, and it's like, you got a tax bill in 15 and didn't know you weren't getting your exemption, and that's my fault? That's up to you as a taxpayer to know. We have no problems with people coming in and asking us. Which brings me to my next thing. It's very challenging. We now are updating our GIS map to have the most recent information we can, and we use Bruce Harris to host that site. But there are times when this information could be different from the FICE and FICE information. And that information will never match up. It just doesn't look that way because of how, you know, taxes are paid a year in arrears, and things get split and things happen, and we're trying to do these things to help the title companies, to help the sellers, to help the buyers. We're trying to keep all this information as current as we can, but it won't match up. So there are times when we'll retire a parcel, and it may have been in two different parcels back here, and this is part of the problem we've been having with certificate of errors, because these things happen and there's no communication going on to prevent this stuff, and it gets sold off on a tax sale, then we have to do a correction, and it's a problem. It's not a major problem, but it's still very challenging for my office. So, and again, I'm just trying to give you updated stuff that I'm doing in my office, and the last thing I just want to tell everybody, that I am here to help. Anybody needs any help, I'll do everything I can to help them. I will not tell them how to do their job. I'll give them suggestions if they ask. I will give them information to show them where this information can be found. But I'm here to help. Fair enough? Like I said, all anybody has to do is ask. And you know what? They're not going to make me upset if they don't do what I suggest. It's okay. But I'm all about being fiscally responsible to the taxpayer. And everything I do is going to be that. And I think I've proven it. I hope I am. It's okay if you don't agree. I try. I try. Anyway, any other questions or thoughts, concerns?
We're good.
We're all good. I don't think there's anything else I need to go over. Like I said, we got this tax cycle to where now it looks like it'll be right the first week of January, probably sometime in early January, that I will be able to finalize the abstract. And Haley's going to get something she's not even going to know anything about as a final abstract and how to process that. And that's why it's important. I know FICE and FICE will give training, and I will be there also to help and do whatever I can to help with the process.
Sounds good.
This may be challenging when you have new office holders, but no matter what the situation is. So, and I realize that, and like I said, I'll make myself available and do whatever I can to help.
Appreciate it.
Okay?
Thank you, Gary.
You bet.
Take care.